Lecture topic: Sacrificing for Ilm, Part 1.
Bismillah. It's one very great tabi'i, Abu Nasr, Yahya bin Ibn Kathir. Imam Muslim rahmatullah alayhi, he has recorded only marfu ahadith in his kitab. He did not adopt the style and the approach of other muhaddithin that also recorded the sayings of the Sahaba and Tabi'een. Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi has done this excessively. Everybody has their own particular focus. So Imam Muslim rahmatullah alayhi's focus was very different. So he didn't even put any chapter headings. He just recorded all the ahadith in a very, very proper sequence nevertheless. But in one place where he has gathered the various ahadith in one aspect of salah, despite the fact that throughout the kitab he hasn't recorded the sayings of Sahaba and Tabi'een, but he brought one saying of this Tabi'i. Oh, can you imagine now that the whole kitab, thousands of ahadith recorded there, and he hasn't recorded any other sayings of Sahaba and Tabi'een generally, because that wasn't his focus. His focus was just the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, without even getting into the details of chapter headings, etc. But yet one particular place he records the saying of this Tabi'i. And now the commentators have gone into quite a bit of detail to discuss, but why he brought this here? He hasn't had this approach. And the saying that he has recorded, part of the saying is, La yustata'ul ilmu birahatil jism. Now this whole kitab, there is this one Tabi'i saying that he has recorded. La yustata'ul ilmu birahatil jism, that ilm cannot be acquired trying to keep the body comfortable. Person wants to keep himself in comfort physically. At the same time, he wants to acquire ilm. These two things are not going to happen. Now this doesn't mean that a person must deliberately put himself into difficulty. That for example, he has food available to eat, so now he decides he's not going to eat, he's going to remain hungry. Or there is a place for him to sleep, but he says, no, I mustn't have any comfort, so he'll sleep out in the cold. So that's not what is meant. What is meant is that a person now who is all the time concerned now how comfortable he can make himself, what next he's going to eat, and how that can be also all the time improved and bettered. And all the time his mind is occupied, or a good amount of the time his mind is occupied in his comfort, occupied in the comfort of his stomach, what better food he can eat and how he can try and conduct himself in a more comfortable manner. So such a person cannot acquire ilm. Ilm was acquired with mujahada. So where there was a need for some mujahada, the person undertook it without any difficulty, without any second thought. And yes, there was some discomfort, but he didn't go and hanker after the comfort, because that was the condition at that time. He accepted it. Such people then went far ahead. And such people really, besides acquiring that ilm, they became the very, very great floodlights for the ummah. They lit up entire countries. They lit up such great knowledge that centuries later, that knowledge is still lighting up hearts, lighting up people's lives. So this didn't come by worrying about comforts, worrying about now how to try and make oneself very, very comfortable, and all the time into how to better one's living condition, etc. in a place of study. There's many, many incidents of the muhaddithin of the past, of the ulama, of the mujahideen, of the muballighin, of the muhaddithin, the fuqaha, of what kind of sacrifices they undertook just so that they could acquire ilm. In those days there wasn't the arrangement where a person could just now take admission in one place and then all the necessary arrangements are there in place for him. The ustads are all in one place available to teach him. Person had to make his own living arrangements, and he would have to find out now in this city who is teaching where and when. So now some ustad is teaching in some masjid a certain subject, and a certain ustad is in another masjid, is teaching something else. So they would have to decide now how to set up their own timetable, and what time to go and acquire ilm from this person, what time to go acquire ilm from that person. So sometimes from the morning till far late at night, because somebody is teaching early in the morning, somebody is teaching late at night. So the entire day would go in this manner. And in that there would be this movement from one place to another. There are incidents where people were acquiring ilm in this manner. From the morning till the evening, they didn't get time to have a meal. Because if they decided to stop, then they would miss that another lesson, because they had to move from this point to that point in time. So there was one incident of two people who came to acquire ilm in one city in Baghdad, perhaps it was. So for days on end, they hadn't eaten any cooked meal, because they couldn't have the time to find it. And once while they came to one ustad's place that day, he was very ill. So I said, today, okay, we'll have to go back now and then go for the next lesson. So on the way back, they passed somebody who was selling some fish. So they bought the fish. But by the time they came to their place of stay, it was now in time to leave for the next lesson. So they immediately left. And says that 2 days passed, we still didn't get the chance to cook it. By the third day, it was already now changing condition. So 2 days passed, and they hadn't had the time to cook that fish. Because from the morning till the evening, and then in the evening now, they needed to clear up their notes, and because they were writing obviously quite fast. So now to make sure everything is all correct and cleared. So the day and the night was being spent in this manner. Now, then they reached those heights that they lit up the entire world with their knowledge. So this is the aspect we have to take deep down in our hearts. A person who wants to acquire ilm, then he will have to make himself ready for some mujahada. So now this is one of the mujahadas. The other very important mujahada, which inshallah will elaborate later in this time and age, the mujahada of the cell phone. Person who wants to acquire ilm, and he wants to still have an attachment with the phone, then these two things are like he's trying to make day and night become in one time, in one place. It's either going to be day or it's going to be night. These two things are not going to happen at the same time. Person who wants to still keep himself engaged in some phone, and he wants to still also at the same time acquire ilm, he wants to learn Quran Sharif, he wants to become an alim of deen, these two things are not going to happen. Person will have to decide now, that zamana and that time, they didn't have time 3 days to have a cooked meal. This is the mujahada of this time, which is actually not even one speck of dust compared to the mujahada that they made. It's no mujahada really. It's like throwing away some stone and getting gold in return. But this for many becomes the mujahada of the time. So if you want to get somewhere, we'll have to make the mujahada and get rid of any device, anything that's going to distract us. That is going to become the means of acquiring ilm. With this, there is going to become a dream that I want to acquire ilm. We'll get a few things, we might pass the exam somewhere, but ilm is going to be a faraway thing. So what mujahada is required for us in this time and age, we have to undertake that. This will open the path for us as well. Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq.
अल्लाह अल्लाह कैसा प्यारा नाम है, आशिकों का मीना और जाम है।